In this screencast, I'm going to show you how to use the Read&Write extension on a web page. If you click the Read&Write extension on any web page, this toolbar will come up. This little option here will allow you to click and drag that toolbar anywhere that you want so that it's not in your way. First thing that most kids like to go for is where they can have this read to them out loud. If they just click play, sometimes it doesn't work because it doesn't know where to start. So if that's the case when the kids click play to read this out loud to them, you want to switch over to a new tool that you don't see within Google Docs called Hover Speech. So when I click on Hover Speech and point,
precipitation is a vital component of how water moves through Earth's water cycle.
You have to click it again to turn it off. The other thing that you can do in order to get the play to work is you can actually select the sentence or the paragraph and click play.
Precipitation is a vital component of how water moves through Earth's water.
And that will tell the computer exactly what it is that you want it to read. So those are the two different ways you can get a website to read out loud to students who might be struggling or who learn best or prefer sometimes to learn through audio. Another thing that you can have, and this over here is a word prediction. Let's see if it works in here. If I click word prediction, it comes up, so it will help me type. Maybe I want to say water.
Water.
Okay, so any place where you can enter text, you can do the word prediction. So I'm actually going to delete that and turn off word prediction. It's actually not letting me delete it. There we go. Next, we also have, again, if I highlight precipitation, I can turn back on my dictionary. I can also turn on my picture dictionary. And I can use them as I click through the different words. So let's say I want to highlight ocean now. It will come up with different words accordingly. So it's, again, nice to have these to work in conjunction with each other. I'm going to close out of those. We did those three. This is the screenshot reader. Now, if I turn on hover speech and come down here,
diagram of the water cycle.
It will read. However, it will not read these little words in here. So if I want to know what this says and I do hover speech,
diagram of the water cycle.
It can't see it because it's part of the image. And that's where the screenshot reader comes in handy. If I click the screenshot reader and select around that word,
groundwater.
It will read
groundwater.
What is in that box.
Groundwater.
Okay, so that's a nice way of extracting text and having it read out loud when it seems to be stuck within an image. Let me come over here to
groundwater.
This is the audio maker. If I were to click and if I were to highlight and click audio maker, it will save it as an MP3, which the student can then listen back at their leisure. Here's screen masking again, which you can turn on and help focus their attention as they're reading. Over here, we have talk and type. So I can click in here and click talk and type, and this will allow me to voice dictate into text where it's available. And here it is. Look, it's saying it just voice dictated that right in for me. Okay, here's the translator. So again, if I highlight something and do translator, this is translating into Spanish for me, but I can set my language within the settings right here. Then I have my highlighters. And just like I showed you in the previous one with Google Docs, I can find some main ideas and details. Let's see. Let's just highlight some like this. And if I click collect highlights, I'm going to collect by position. It's going to keep them in the order in which I've highlighted them. Click OK. And it's going to make a new Google document with my notes, and it's even going to link back to the source in which I found that information. I can then switch over to Google Docs toolbar, sweep this clean, and now put this into an outline that will help me structure my paragraph or my notes, and so on. If you do that, make sure you title this something that you're going to remember besides highlights untitled, or you will never find it again. It does save automatically within your Google Drive, so you don't have to worry about that. You might, however, want to click here and choose a different folder to put it in. Coming back to here, another option is the vocabulary list. So let's say I select all of this. I'm going to sweep it clean, and I'm going to find some vocabulary. This works best if you select one word at a time. Let's do 3 of these and we'll see. I'm going to do vocabulary. It's going to open up a new Google document with my vocabulary list attached. And it should have the word, the definition, and then picture symbols to go with it. And all of this is editable. So again, I can change this to put, use it in a sentence. And if this is too much for the kids, they can delete out what they don't want to see to make it a little bit more simple, or they could add to it. And there's my vocabulary list. Now, a teacher can make this or a student can make it. If a teacher makes it, I would change the title to be water cycle vocabulary. I would click share, change the privacy, and share it with my class. The next thing on this list is simplify. So if I choose simplify page, it's going to take this, strip out all the extra buttons and extra visuals and whatnot, and just have the article displayed cleanly on the page. Along with that is some other options. If I choose black on white, I can also do white on black. I could do blue on yellow. Now you may laugh, but there are some students who respond better to different visual combinations like this. So we should, as teachers, point them in the direction of choosing which visual combination works best for them and their eyes. You can also change the font here. There's also an open dyslexic font, and I can increase the size of the font so that it's easier to read. So any students who respond to that type of font, it is available, and you can make it bigger to make it easier on their eyes. You also have what's called a simplify, which if I choose the minus sign, it's going to start taking away some of the details underneath the topic sentence. If I choose the plus sign, it's going to put them back in again. All right, so that is simplify. And let's go back. And again, I could do practice reading out loud. So I could select the article, click practice reading out loud. It actually kept the visual here for me, but here's what I want to have them read. And then I can click record, and the student can actually read this out loud. And when they stop it, they can send that audio recording to me as their teacher through Google Classroom. So you'll get an audio recording of them reading and practicing their fluency from that webpage. So that just gives a brief overview on how to use these tools within a website. Please remember that going up in here into your options, you can come into the options to change for speech, for playback, for word prediction, for the grammar check, for screen masking, and you can set your language here. You can also turn on and off the features that you may or may not want to show within the toolbar. Maybe this is too much for your students. Maybe you want to turn off the grammar check when you're reading on a web page because you may not need it. Maybe you want to turn on the web search feature or turn it off. Maybe you want to turn off translator or back on again. You can shorten up this toolbar if you want.